The question of cybersecurity, as you all know, is one of the most important questions of public security and one of the most important questions of economic development that is facing us as a community, as a country, as an economy, indeed as a society. When we talk about the nature and scope of cybersecurity risks to the private economy, the estimates are dire. The World Economic Forum tells us that economic loss due to cybercrime is predicted to reach $3 trillion annually by 2020. And this is an incredible statistic. According to the World Economic Forum, 74% of the world's businesses can expect to have a cyber incursion sometime in the next 12 months. What do you think is the single most urgent risk that you're seeing in your work, number one? And then how do you think that risk can be addressed or mitigated most effectively?
Deloitte has a #1 ranked cybersecurity service program globally, and yet we were the victim as a company within the last 24 months. So all you need to do is to build a perfect defense.
No problem, Greg.
Have unlimited funds to keep, updating that defense. Do it on a 24/7 basis, and then just have one single thing go wrong. What's the biggest advice we give? It's a bit tried and true. I'm sure it's not startling. It's not a matter of if, but when. You're being probed all the time. You're being monitored all the time. You're giving off signals all the time. So you have to be vigilant all the time, and then you will be attacked. And so how quickly can you detect it? How quickly can you respond to it? And then you need to be able to recover and get back to normal business as quickly as possible, because this is, unfortunately, the new normal.
So there's 16 million people that need 911 on our networks, and I'm directly accountable for that. We have 7,713 cell towers. We have 11,452 microwaves. We have close to 19,000 telecom elements. We analyze 17 billion events a day, and we own the Blue Jays. So depending on your perspective of what's important, so what needs to change? Where do we need to go? We need to recognize that in order for us to win in cyber, like united by sport, like Sportsnet, we need to be united in cyber.
What I see as part of the challenge, it falls into this, but it's also, we've become a culture of rapid innovation. And we really put a lot of stress on constantly innovating and how do we continue to develop. For example, look at a bank and they have developers. And those developers are trying to create the next big app to get you to check out your mortgage rate. That's the bank, that's the product you see. What's happening behind the scenes is 50, 60, 100, 1,000 developers all working, changing that app and making the changes on the fly. They're unplanned changes sometimes. What happens in those moments is a developer feels stressed. They have to hit their target. They've been told that it has to happen tonight, not tomorrow, and they get sloppy. That becomes the Swiss cheese of cybersecurity. It's not necessarily the app that's been deployed. It's our need for rapid innovation. And so that developer took a code that should have been in there, but it was going to take an extra hour, but it was going to delay the next developer to touch it. They hid it under the carpet, literally lifted up and said, we don't need it. And now we have a pin-sized hole inside our app, and it's been deployed.
60% of businesses had seen attacks on IoT devices. 60%, more than half. And I bet you, and folks in the law enforcement would tell you, those are the ones that know that they got hacked. There's a lot of others that didn't know. Almost $700 million a year lost by businesses to email compromise. And these are small to medium-sized businesses. 76% of the businesses in 2018 reported that they've been hit by a phishing attack.
What do you think is the key cyber risk to the health of our democracy? Not a small question. If you were advising government, what would you tell them to do?
If you can snowplow together, then you can have private-public integration, then we can win. But right now, the criminals are organized and we're not. And that's why we're losing.
We are struggling with a legal regulatory justice system that was built for the last century, and it has not been significantly updated for this century. The group of kids coming up are the largest cohort ever. They're the first cohort born fully into the internet, and they have all of the world's knowledge at their fingertips. It'll be the most powerful, the most changing cohort ever in history. They're going to figure it out, despite us. And in fact, it is my generation that has created the vulnerabilities around which they have to grow into. So we all have skin in the game. I suspect we're going to turn the game over very soon to this next generation of leaders. They'll make some outstanding mistakes. For the most part, I think they will harness this amazing tool, the information age, the internet, and the devices that allow it, and they will do things that none of us in this room can even begin to think of. They will cure cancer. They will put people on planets far away. They will discover insights into the laws of nature. They will create entire new industries that we can't imagine. They will generate commerce. They will provide opportunities for diversity and inclusion in a way that we can't think of. And yes, they'll still make some colossally stupid mistakes along the way, but we'll figure it out. So I just don't want us to end or even begin to go down the channel of curl into the corner, suck our thumbs, and call for mommy, because that's not an option in the game that we're playing.
What can the folks here do to make themselves, their businesses, or their families more cyber secure?
Start a dialogue, but not where you're doing the teaching, but the kids. So at home, sit and listen to them. Ask them what they think, what this means. They know a lot more than we give our kids credit for. Give them an opportunity to actually educate you, because you'll be surprised, and it opens up a new dialogue.
The criminals are organized. We need to be organized. Make it a kitchen table issue, as we've heard here. Engage in conversation. But at the end of the day, the way that societies and democracies survive and excel and increase GDP is by working together.
I used to say this before I left policing. We are on and being tracked all the time. There's no place to hide your secrets from the good guys or the bad guys. And so my simple advice is seek the truth, because there's a lot of false information out there. Speak the truth, because if you speak a lie, it'll get found out at some point. And live the truth.
I want to thank these panelists for the time that they've given and their expertise.